folks, welcome to another electrifying interview on Spark Igniting Minds. Let us dive into the inspiring journey of Sravani Ramachandran, a talented artist who has conquered obstacles and ignited minds with her incredible artwork. Shravani's passion for art was discovered at a young age, but it was her unwavering determination that propelled her to overcome challenges and embrace her unique artistic style. Her disability has not only influenced her art but has also become a powerful driving force behind the themes she explores in her captivating creations. Throughout her artistic career, Sravani has faced numerous hurdles, but her resilience and creativity have allowed her to triumph over adversity. From organizing mesmerizing art exhibitions to live painting events, she has created unforgettable experiences that have touched the hearts of many. In this interview, we will delve into Shavani's future plans and goals for expanding her reach and impact in the art world. We will explore how society can better support and empower artists with disabilities and the role of organizations in fostering inclusivity. So, hi folks, prepare to be inspired as Sravani shares her message of resilience, creativity, and the power of art to ignite minds and create a more inclusive world. Welcome, Sravani, to Spark Interviews.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Though a paraplegic, Sravani, you have been an inspiration to many of the artists with disabilities. Can you tell us about your accident and what was life for you after the accident?
Well, very frankly, I don't remember much about the accident. It happened in 2011. I was working in Koramangala for this company called Altisource Business Solutions. So over there, I used to work in the afternoon shift, right? In the afternoons, I used to take the direct bus, and in the evenings, the company cab used to drop me. But I'm told on that...
You were working for?
Altisource Business Solutions. I was in the HR. So over there, I believe on that fateful day, this again, I don't remember. But I'm told, I went to the bus stand, I missed the direct bus, so I got back home and took the bike out. And then I believe that evening, I told my manager I want to go to a temple the next morning, and I left early. I don't remember which temple I wanted to go to, but on my way back, that's when the accident happened. I don't remember.
You were driving a bike? Or
yes. Yeah, I was on a two-wheeler. That's when the accident happened, and I don't remember a thing about the accident.
Okay.
But I'm told it was a near fatal one. I was in the hospital for about 50 days, in and out of the ICU. Multiple fractures, but the one that, of course, changed the very course of my life was the spinal cord injury. So, very frankly, up until then, I didn't even know about spinal cord injury. I had only seen that movie of Hrithik Roshan, wherein he is paralyzed neck down. So, at that time, I thought it was cinematic liberty, but I didn't know that something like this is actually possible, and even worse, I was going to experience it myself. Life kind of, came to a standstill. Things changed quite drastically, right? I don't suppose I'd ever thought that, I would be in a position wherein I would lose mobility and sensation of parts of the body, but then life goes on as it should. There were multiple visits to the hospital. I had 3 surgeries, and after that, a few more surgeries, but then I was somehow able to kind of muster the courage.
Soon after that, you must have gone into a depression for some time, and then how did you overcome it?
I don't recall. That's the thing. For about 6 months, I don't remember anything. Okay. Right? When I, of course, I too was curious, so I checked with my family if I had gone into depression. But they said, I didn't necessarily go into depression. I believe once the doctors had apparently told me.
Okay, you don't even remember how the accident happened,
and a few days before and after, I don't remember anything at all.
Oh.
Right, so I'm told the doctor.
So was the brain affected or something?
Yes,
like that?
there were clots in the brain.
Clots in the
I
brain.
don't remember. I'm told that also the medication that was given perhaps has had that kind of an effect, and maybe it was a good thing. For all remembering it would have been a traumatic thing, but that is what it is.
In
yeah, of course, I'd like to look at it that way.
Yes.
But that is how it has been, right? And so. It was rather difficult to even, let's say, be seated for too long. I wouldn't even be able to sit for more than 2 hours, right? No, very often I had to go to the hospital. I believe the doctors had told my folks that I will need to kind of go through counseling, right? No, considering that it is so life changing. But I'm told that the first visit here, this again I don't remember, but I'm told the first time I went to the hospital, when I was talking to the doctor, I believe he came back and told my folks, your daughter is in a position where she can give counseling to others. So I, of course, look at it as the Lord's blessing,
great
right?
spirit, I can say.
When he closes the door, he opens a window. So maybe that was my window.
Yes.
That is how it has been for me. Yeah.
Okay. And after that, how did you get attracted to the art, and how did you develop a passion for it?
Well, actually, during my school days, I used to sketch a little. I used to draw a little. I was fairly decent at it, right? But of course, and after that, I also used to. I had gone for some classes also. Right. I used to attend a couple of workshops, right? But then my MBA and my eventual corporate life didn't really give me the time to kind of pursue this hobby of mine. But then after the accident, I had a lot of time on hand, right? So I didn't want to just sit, someone used to come and, they used to lift me from the bed and put me onto the wheelchair. And after 2 hours, they used to come and put me back onto the bed. I didn't want to just sit on the wheelchair and watch TV and all of that. I didn't want to do that. So I started sketching again. So I remember that, I had a few books. I started sketching, and the interest, I used to sit for 2 hours, right? At the end of it, I wanted a finished outcome. So I used to kind of, work on it very rigorously. I worked on sketching, and then, I started using charcoal. It was a different medium altogether. And then I moved to pastels. It was a similar medium, the manner in which you go about it. And after that, I really wanted to explore the very many media, right? And so I reached out to a teacher. He helped me with some oil painting techniques. So with that, I started painting on a very regular basis, almost on a daily basis. And that in many ways perhaps, helped me bring some color back into life, literally and otherwise as well. So that was really nice. I was enjoying it all for about 3 or 4 years. I worked on my oil paintings. I started working on calendars every year. I used to work on a theme, and every year there used to be a different themed calendar. First it was black and white Ganesha, then color Ganesha, then salutes and sunset.
Okay, it was all your work, or?
I'm afraid I lack that imagination. So I used to have a reference, and I used to, of course, just copy that. Right. I'm not that creative or that imaginative that I could do something on my own. I have, of course, worked on a couple of them, and I must say I'm fairly satisfied with it, but I got to make it a habit to kind of come up with originals. But yeah, it's been going on. After oil painting, I developed an allergy, so I worked on some pen and ink work on paper, and now I'm currently exploring acrylic as a medium, and I must say I've been enjoying it.
How has your disability influenced your artistic style and the themes you explore in your artwork?
I wouldn't say it influenced the themes as such, but what it did was it just gave me that impetus to kind of work on it more. Like I said, the themes have been varied themes. So nothing is really related to disability as such.
On what themes would you like to work like?
Well,
do you have some specific themes, or whatever comes to your mind and whatever feels good for you, you work?
It's like every year I work on a theme, right? So it's like, maybe it's a conscious thing because I've been working on calendars also. For all, that is there at the back of my mind, and that's the reason I use that. So this year I worked on some color flowers. Last year it was some stippling art. Prior to that it was doors and windows. Prior to that was branches. So I wouldn't say the disability and the themes are, let's say, synced at all, but maybe it's just given me the impetus, when the first 3 years when the response was good, right? It just gave me that that encouragement to kind of work on different media, work on different themes, and of course looking at getting better. That is what it has been, but no direct influence as such, I would say.
What challenges have you faced as an artist with a disability, and how have you overcome them?
Well, like I mentioned, at one point, there used to be someone who used to come home, lift me from the bed and put me onto the wheelchair, and I wanted to make use of the 2 hours, right? So perhaps the approach was wrong. Maybe many of the senior artists would say, Sravani, that approach is not right. But for me, because I'm sitting on it for 2 hours, despite the pain, I'm there sitting and working on a sketch. I wanted to have a finished product at the end of it. It doesn't always work that way. If it is a simple sketch, you can finish it, but not always. But I used to push myself really hard to kind of finish things. So while of course you want to do all of this.
How many hours you sit and
Once upon a time, I think easily around 4 to 5 hours I used to sit, and that was of course along with my work, my office work also that I used to do. But that was a challenge. At the very initial days, post my accident, it was posing to be quite a challenge. But then, I pushed myself a few times, but then, the body wasn't coping as much as I would have wanted it to. Then, of course, I spoke to a few teachers. They said, Sravani, that is maybe not the best approach. While, of course, we get your intent, it is not the best of approach. You need to kind of, phase it all. It's okay, you can maybe just spread it over a few weeks. So that is when, I worked on oil painting. With oil painting, you have the luxury of time. You can, of course, spread it over a couple of weeks, and I started doing that. But that is how it's been, so it's been good. Maybe, if we were to look at the positives, it really helped me explore the medium a lot, and that gave me a lot of, happiness. So I was really enjoying it. So just about, that how do you manage the time so that in such a way that, it doesn't take a toll on the body, right? It gets a little frustrating also. So it was a gradual process. I didn't want to rush into it, but that really helped me.
Can you share some memorable experiences or story from your art exhibitions and live events?
Well, one of the memorable experiences I'd like to call it is during one of the exhibitions that I had organized, right? We had Priya Sheshadri. She is someone who was born with visual impairment, but she has painted, right? I mean, for me to paint is something, by God's grace, my arms are okay, I can paint, right? But for someone who doesn't know what the sky looks like, what a tree looks like, for her to paint, she's born visually impaired, and she has painted. So that was incredible, and she was actually one of the reasons I started the exhibition also, right? I wanted the world to kind of know about such incredible talent, right? So one of the first exhibitions, I ensured that she was there, and people were so mind boggled by that. That kind of stands out. And during that very exhibition, I still remember, it's like, I am there, right? There were a few of them, people with visual impairment, like at least 4 or 5 of them. So it's like, I'm just kind of going, and they're kind of coming behind me. And there are quite a few art pieces. They don't quite know how to decipher the art.
How could she even imagine something in the,
She'd gone for a workshop apparently, right? Okay. So they tell, this is what the sky is like, this is what the ground is, this is what the ocean, and they have paint tubes, which is braille embedded. So they say 2 drops of this, 1 drop of this will give you this color, and this is the color of the leaves. And she's painted, and that is just incredible. So that was just one really fascinating experience.
Yeah, if you can share that painting with us, I think. Yes.
Yeah, I really don't have it handy, but I'll definitely share it with you. I think this is something that the world ought to know about, right? And along with it, there are a few others also, people with visual impairment. So there are paintings, right? So they see, me and you, we can of course see the paintings and maybe comprehend it in a certain way. But these are people who don't know what is even being displayed. So we kind of made a small little chain, and then we were going over there. Me and this other friend, we were kind of explaining the art to them, saying this is what it is, in a way that is understandable by them. That somehow is kind of etched in my memory. That small little.
How old is she?
She, I think, would be in her late 40s. Okay. She's just an incredible person working with one of the leading public sector banks, and she speaks so well, she can give any RJ a run for their money, right? So she's been a true influence, right? Yeah. So one of the reasons I started the exhibitions also.
How do you select the artist to showcase in your exhibitions, and what criteria do you consider?
Very frankly, every year I tell myself we need to maybe have some criteria, but this is art, right? It is very subjective, right? What is my art might mean something to me, but when you're looking at it, you might perhaps have a different perspective altogether about it, right? So it becomes difficult for us to select, right? So what we do is, more often than not, at least in the last 3 years, what I've been doing is, I just don't go with a selection criteria as such. I just ask the artist to just bring their artwork, and maybe once, let's say on the day or during the day, just the day before they bring their artwork, maybe we just select the best of the lot and we put them. Primarily because of the very nature. How many
people do you have whom you are inspiring and coaching them in the field of art? Do you have a number?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that these are a number of people who perhaps have been inspired by me, but I would say these are again artists, and their stories have inspired me, right? And as of now, in the last year's exhibition also I had about 35 artists, right? Okay. The idea is to kind of slowly grow in size, reach out to artists from across the the state, because I am doing this on my own, the art exhibition, right?
And all your exhibitions will be at
Karnataka Chitra, because that is an art haven, right? And for the artists also,
That's
having
the
the name
best place,
Chitrakala Parishad on their profile, it looks really good for them. So they also like it. So I've been doing it, and like I said, so this I've been doing it. I reach out to people within my circle and just raise some funds and do it. If I have to get artists from across the country, that of course in the long run I would want to do it, but I would need that kind of backing up, the kind of funding and sponsoring is needed. So as of now, I haven't been doing that, but for now I've been having some 35 to 36 artists.
And how many paintings have been sold recently? Like
I think easily more than 150, I suppose.
Wow,
that's a good
number.
It's been a good number.
Yes.
I mean, it's just that we want people to know about these incredible artists and their talent, and year on year we would of course want to get more people to come and have a look at these works and maybe get inspired as well, right?
Yes. And people would readily buy, I think.
Oh yes, yes, of course. It's because it's a different flavor altogether.
What impact do you hope to achieve through your art exhibitions and the visibility you provide for your artists?
Like I just mentioned, I would want to have a better reach for these artists, right? So my exhibition is just one platform, right? I would want more people to, one of course, come to know about the talent that these people have, and also give them that visibility, right? So I think we're off to a fairly decent start, right? I'd like to believe that maybe I was one of the first ones, someone with a disability doing something for other folks with disability.
That's incredible, I can say.
Thank you so very much. But I think when I started, I perhaps was one of the fewer ones doing it. But now, of course, I understand there are quite a few other groups also who have been doing it. Very recently, I think it was in October, NASSCOM also did a similar thing. They had artists with various disabilities, kind of displaying their artwork. So ultimately, that is what we would want. We want people to kind of, get to know about the talents, right? In fact, now there is this Purple Fest that's happening in Goa, right? So there again, there are quite a few people with disabilities, who are displaying their work, right? So ultimately, you would want the bigger community, the bigger society to be more aware of the talent that is there in the community, the untapped potential that there is, and perhaps give them that impetus, perhaps that.
And I also feel that since because they are disabled, and their imagination and their participation in such kind of artwork would definitely give them a lot of peace and a lot of yes.
It is ultimately, art is nothing but an expression, right? So they have chosen art as the medium of their expression. Now, I might paint, or maybe I might write, but for them, it is about expressing via the very many media of art, right? So it definitely is extremely expressive. You see some of their artwork, and
and it gives a lot of satisfaction to them, I think, more
yes, of
than
course.
anything.
That's because there is this, let's say there is this one artist, Sunita from Kerala. She is someone who's born with a rare genetic disorder. So she has arms, but she can't use them. So she paints with her mouth. Okay, she does a fabulous job. She can give anyone a run for their money the way she paints. Right now, it takes time. It is challenging for her. She needs someone to kind of help her with the maybe just putting the paint also, right, dipping it, right. But at the end of it, she comes up with such beautiful artwork. So that I think will be extremely satisfying. Right now, as the one who's making that art, I'm sure it is satisfying, and for someone who's procuring that art also, right, to kind
and
of
also
see
develops
that.
a lot of confidence
Oh,
in
yes.
them. Yes.
Yes, it is.
And they forget all their worries.
Oh yes, of course. Because you're so very much involved in it, right?
Right.
That is, I suppose, the beauty of any hobby for that matter. Because the more and more you get involved, the kind of influence it has on you, it is just undescribable. It is just amazing.
How do you balance your corporate work with your passion for art and organizing exhibitions?
Well, in the last couple of years, it's just posing to be a slight challenge. Initially I used to work in the afternoon shifts, even when I was working from home. Right, so mornings I used to have the time. I've always been, a late sleeper, so I used to work in the afternoon shifts. Mornings I used to have the time to kind of work on all of this. But in the last year and a half, I've been working in the day shift. So in the evenings, poses to be a slight problem, but because art kind of came to my rescue in my recovery days, I don't want to stop it, right? So weekends I make it a point to kind of give it the special time and the effort that is needed. Weekdays also I try, so now I'm kind of trying to maybe work on different media. During the weekdays maybe just work on some dot work, and during the weekends work on some painting work and things like that. But it's a very fun
explore other forms of art or so.
Yes, of course. Yes. That is ultimately the thing of any other artist, right? So like I said, I started with sketching, then charcoal, then pastels, then oil painting, then pen work, now with acrylic. Tomorrow, I don't know, there will definitely be some contemporary medium that perhaps will be really a great thing to explore. So maybe I would want to do that, but it's been a very conscious effort right now, because work, of course, is what pays you, right, ultimately. But this is a hobby, but a hobby that, like I said, has given me a lot of that confidence. So I make it a very conscious effort to give it the time and the effort that is needed. So it's been the last year and a half has been slightly challenging, but I'm trying to kind of have a work around the whole thing. So hopefully I figure it out very soon.
Can you share any success stories of artists with disabilities who have benefited from your initiatives and through your organization?
Oh, okay, so these are artists, and they're not necessarily my students. All of them have, of course, been pursuing art, right? Yeah. So a few of them, what I did was, one of the years, I think was the second year, right? I got to know about this group called the Atypical Advantage, right? Okay. Started by someone, Vineet Saraiwala. Again, he's someone with visual impairment, but he started this particular platform. So I got to know about it. I was invited by them for a live painting event, right? So I went over there, and then it was a great experience, right? So what I did was, they, of course, what they do is they showcase the works of artists with various disabilities. Okay, so for one of the art exhibitions, I got them to kind of come and put up a stall in our exhibition, so that people get to know that there is an online portal wherein they can also display their artwork, and they don't necessarily have to wait for such art exhibitions to show their work.
Oh, you have an online portal also?
Not me, but this Atypical Advantage, they have that, and so I, of course, had them, so we kind of collaborated, and the artwork of many of these artists who display in my exhibition is also shown over there, right? So, and now, of course, for the last couple of years they've been doing that. They sell the work, and the process, of course, goes to the artist. But this year, of course, the Goa tourism department, they started this whole Purple Fest to showcase the artwork of people with disabilities, and this year, I think there are at least 5 or 6 of them right now from the group with whom I've been working closely. They've, of course, been teamed up with the Atypical Advantage group, and the group has taken them all along to Goa, and they have a bigger platform and a bigger viewership arena to kind of showcase their artwork. So that, of course, is a nice feeling, right?
It's a kind of visibility that you are giving to the
that, of course, really
artists.
Helps. And there are a couple of people, I must share this particular incident. Last year, I was giving an interview with Doordarshan, Chandana, and I was just talking about the artist. There is one particular artist called Aparna. She's someone with Down syndrome, but she paints beautifully. Right now, the attention to detail is just incredible. So she was also apparently watching it. So during my exhibition, during the interview of the exhibition, I was just telling that this is what it is. There's one particular girl, I had to maybe take an exceptional approval from the Chitrakala Parishat management, because hers is, while of course she also had paintings, she was also painting on terracotta work and all of that. Okay. So Chitrakala Parishat, ideally, of course, it's all painting, right? So I had to kind of take an exception. Right? So I believe, I just happened to mention, and the Doordarshan people, they kind of showcased her work when I was talking about her, right? Right after the interview, she happened to call me, and she was in tears, she was so happy that her name was called out and her artwork was shown. So that these small things perhaps, have are the ones that I would, memorable.
Great impact on them.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels really good. And there is another girl called Anu Jain. So she's someone with no arms below her elbows and no legs below her knees. But she holds the paintbrush like this and she paints. And she is just incredible, right? For
I think I don't remember the name, but I have seen a painting in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan director's office behind his chair, and that girl, I think she paints with her legs.
Legs.
Yeah. Do you know about her?
I don't know
And
if
she
there
has
is-
done such a wonderful painting, and it's incredible. I can say that.
there is a group, the foot and
Yeah.
mouth artist group. So they encourage artists
that's
to paint
also
via
the
their
person.
mouth and legs. So it must be one of them. Must be Sri Lekha. I think I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But this particular girl, Anu, right now, like I said, she paints almost with the half arms that she has, right now. So for one of the exhibitions, I had Radhika Hormuzji. She happens to be the great granddaughter of Raja Ravi Verma.
Oh.
Right, and the father of Indian art itself, right? So I saw the artwork, yes, right. So incredible. I used to take some lessons from her. She bought a couple of my calendars for a couple of years, and then I reached out to her and she said, I can definitely help you. You already have the knack. I can help you work on the basics. So I used to learn from her, learn some basics, and then for one of the exhibitions I reached out to her because she is an artist herself too. So I approached her and she was there. So Anu, there was a picture, after the whole inauguration and all of it, they were taking pictures with the guests, right? And Anu had taken a photo with Radhika and her husband, and she'd put up this social media post. It gathered so much of attention, right? But it's not about the social media attention, but it's about how happy the girl was. She like, I never thought I would be meeting, Raja Ravima's great granddaughter, and she would be, purchasing one of my paintings. And she was so incredibly happy, and that it is these small things that kind of stay with you. So these I would say are perhaps the most memorable experiences for me.
Can you tell us more about your Rotary Bangalore and how it is supporting the artists with disabilities?
Well, the very first year, after my accident, I was of course in my own world, right? So I was in my own bubble. But someone approached me saying, Sravani, Rotary, I'm told, is starting. Rotary, of course, is a world-renowned organization, right, doing community service. So they approached me, they're starting something especially for people with disabilities. Why don't you join? At that time, I was like, just because I am, let's say, I am someone with disability, should I really make a conscious effort to reach out to more people? I wasn't too sure, but I thought, let me just go and give it a try. And I just went there for a couple of meetings, and I was, again, all the people are people with various disabilities, majority of them being visually impaired. But they've joined hands to kind of, bring some change to the society.
Okay, are the funding also?
No. The
Funding,
first year,
how do you manage funding?
I just raise funds, within my own network, my friends, right, family, it's just them. Rotary Ability is the first time, after I was a part of it for a few years, I thought it will be an incredible thing, considering the nature of the group also. I thought it will be an incredible thing for a club which has people with disabilities to organize something, for people with disabilities, right? So that is how it started. There again, we had to kind of, raise the funds and all of it. Right?
Do you have approached government for, no?
No, very frankly, no. But I think second year I had Shilpa Nag, who's a deputy commissioner. Right? She had come. Me and her were batchmates during her MBA. She had come, so she of course said, maybe we can consider doing it. But for me, the thing is, I am not a registered organization, right? I'm just doing it out of, I have a label, Pragati, Team Pragati is what we go with, and our art initiative is called Art from the Heart. But we are not registered because, very frankly, I was told that all of that is quite a hassle in the sense, it requires a lot of maintenance.
Maybe you may have to pay also, I think.
Some payment, I'm told that is minimal, but maintaining the accounts and auditing it and all is a challenge. So I didn't want to get into it, but one day I would of course want to do that, and also maybe want to give some scholarships to some deserving students. So that of course will happen only when we have a registered thing in place. So in the long run, yes, we would of course really want to, and maybe having that will also help us raise funds, because when you're going as an individual, the approach is different. When you're going as a registered institution, it's a different approach altogether. So hopefully in the next couple of years I should be able to do that better.
How do you believe art can be a powerful tool for promoting inclusivity and breaking down barriers?
Art, I think, is something, it's an all-encompassing thing, right? There doesn't necessarily have to be a breakdown of sorts, So art, I think, like I said, it's perspective, right? And I think art, because it is all about perspective, there is no differentiation at all, right? My expression is something, your expression is something. I think, art would play, or has been playing, a very instrumental role in breaking the stereotypes, right? People tend to have these stereotypes, okay, this is someone with a disability, what can they paint, kinds, So they can, of course, art can prove them wrong. So I think art really helps in
I
breaking
think
that
they proved
stereotype.
them wrong.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, they have.
Yes,
they
exactly.
must have done much better than
An able-bodied person,
yes.
any other able-bodied person. So I think art helps in breaking that stereotype.
Right.
And also because there is a lot of untapped potential in that community, right? No, so it is art perhaps helps in bringing out that expression, and also gives us a chance to kind of tap into this potential that there is in the community, right? And that can do wonders, right? It's about perspective. It's about collaborating with these people to kind of bring about a meaningful influence, right, on the society in itself.
No, there's a purpose in life. There's a meaning in life.
Yes, it's just
that
about
something
exploring that
yes,
and giving people that platform, right?
Yes.
For all it could be. There are, of course, a number of people with this incredible talent, right? So for all us giving a platform could perhaps be a tapestry of that potential, that culture, that perspective, and that color altogether, right? So I would really believe that art has a huge role to play, and it has been. Maybe now, thanks to social media, maybe it is coming to the fore. Maybe there were people who perhaps were doing it in the past. Maybe people didn't know about it.
Maybe in the past, do you remember anybody like this who have excelled in the? Are there any examples? Like I really don't know if you have
before my accident, I don't suppose I had seen anyone like that. But after my accident, of course, one of the exhibitions, that's when I met a couple of people, right? During Chitra Sante is this annual art exhibition that happens. So during one of my exhibitions there, I got to meet a few other artists, right? These are artists with speech and hearing impairment. And the next year, I also happened to meet someone again with Down syndrome. This kid is from Bangalore. Now, of course, he's gone back to Meghalaya, but he paints, and he paints so beautifully, right? Again, someone with Down syndrome. And the next year I happened to meet this lady Sunita I mentioned, right? And right next to me she is painting with her mouth, right? And then I got to know about this foot and mouth association. There are people who paint with their legs. I met R.K. Ramakrishna, right? He paints. He is someone with, I don't know if it's got quadriplegia, but cerebral palsy, and there's some other disability. He paints with his legs, and I feel like this is incredible. He paints such beautiful landscapes, right? And so all of these people, first of course was Priya, and then of course was all these people who kind of really gave me that push to kind of work on a platform to showcase their talent.
You are equally inspired by
very
them,
much. They're the ones who give me that impetus.
Yes. What are your future plans and goals for expanding your reach and impact?
Well, like I mentioned, I would of course want to reach out to artists from across the country, and maybe
maybe
10 years from now, maybe
also.
why not?
Yeah, why
it
not?
all depends upon the kind of backing you get.
Yes.
But ultimately, it's about giving these people the kind of visibility, right? The platform that I think they thoroughly deserve, right? I would of course want to do that. In the meanwhile, of course, I ought to kind of work on the networking and reach out to people who can really help with that, right? So now, of course, we are much better when compared to where we were 3 years ago. Hopefully, in the next 3-5 years, we will be much bigger, and we'll be able to reach out and get people, because I will not be able to provide for their accommodation or for the travel. Hopefully, I get it to a point wherein we are a well-set organization, and we can do that for artists from across the country and across the world as well. You never know.
So best of luck for
Yeah,
that.
thank you so very much.
Yes, that's a very good initiative. And can you share any upcoming projects or collaborations? What you are excited about?
One, of course, so I call it Art from the Heart, like I mentioned, the exhibition. So that we're having the 4th edition on the 2nd and 3rd of March. Of course, as always, really excited about it. I would want to reach out to a few more artists than last year. Started off with the groundwork for that. But there is another group, a friend of mine, happened to share this thing. There is HSBC there apparently coming up with they're looking at some kind of a diverse platform, right? And so a friend reached out saying, they want to kind of, showcase the artworks of people with disabilities. So I suppose we'll be collaborating with them, just see how we can maybe showcase the art to the corporates also, and, get them to be a little more involved perhaps. But that is something, I am, of course, excited about. And maybe, NASCOM next year, you never know. Maybe, I can maybe just tie up with them. I also reached out to, but I'd gone, they're primarily working in the disability space, right? Wanted to highlight the thing. So I want to kind of, went for one of their seminars. It was a very interesting one, and I spoke to them about my initiative, and they were interested. So maybe I can reach out to them as well and collaborate with them. They did show interest, so it's just about taking it to the next step and tie up with them and maybe bring this art to the notice of the corporates, because corporate has immense power, right? So if you can maybe just tie up with them to kind of bring about some useful change, then why not? So those are the two things I am really looking forward to, and of course my art exhibition.
Your story is a great inspiration, I can say.
Thank you.
Sravani, but what message or inspiration you hope people to get from your story, in your perspective?
Well,
okay, and the work you do, how?
Well, I suppose all I would say is just try to look beyond. Okay. That is, I suppose, would be the two words. Look beyond, beyond everything, beyond disability, beyond the boundaries, beyond the nationality, because we ourselves can surprise ourselves by the kind of potential that we think that we have. Right now, we can really surprise ourselves. So, I would just that would be my ask. Please try to look beyond. And I mean, as cliched as it may sound, I would say don't give up, right? Because if you have a hobby, give it the time and interest, because my hobby came to my rescue. It was my savior in many ways. Wherever I am right now, whatever accolades I've received, is primarily because of my hobby, right? So it's about giving the hobby the time and the effort that it really needs. And all of us, we have our work. We tend to get busy with things, but it's important that we have that time for ourselves. It is the me time. Just use it. It can be anything, be it art, it can be, music, it can be anything, right? But ensure that, you give it that time. Not that something as dramatic as mine should be happening with you, but you never know how it kind of, comes to your rescue. So just follow your interests very seriously, give it the time, give it the effort, and the money also if need be. And yeah, just try to look beyond, because we are so tuned to just looking at the obvious. We fail to look beyond, right? It can be about anything, right? So instead of looking at the disability of a person, look at the ability that they bring to the table, look at the talent that they bring to the table. I think we all would be really pleasantly surprised by the potential of the human race. So just look beyond and be as inclusive as you can, and just keep an eye out, because let's say I now have friends, because I'm on the wheelchair, they know that okay, if I'm going to a restaurant, it has to be accessible. So just keep an eye out and see whatever little you can do over there to kind of bring about that small change. It's a tiny drop makes an ocean. So just keep an eye out for that.
There are a lot of initiatives for the for example, restaurants, airports, and things like that. They have been doing a lot of things to improve for the disabled people, to provide amenities.
Yeah, I have a friend. He's again a paraplegic like me. Right now he started. I believe one day he'd gone to a restaurant. He saw that it wasn't accessible. Right, so he reached out to the hotel management. He worked with some vendors. So he ensured that there was a ramp put. So now what he's been doing is he's been ramping up the city. Right now he started with Bangalore, then he went to Pune, now Gwalior, I think, and now he's in Goa, also part of the whole thing, ramping up the places, right? Now for many other wheelchair users like me, right? Now, if there is a ramp, it becomes easy for us to kind of use. It's called Ramp My City. His name is Pratik. His name is Pratik, and I think you can definitely consider him for one of the interviews. It is an incredible thing, right? No, not necessarily waiting for others to bring about the change. Be the change maker yourself, right? So I think it is just incredible what is doing. And the government is also, of course, he works for some of his projects. He worked closely with people from the government, but it's bringing about that change. We might not be where we thought we would be, but I think we are far from where we are. Even as a community, as a country, we are definitely far from where we were. But of course, there is so much scope for further improvement. It is because of change makers that is possible.
Thank you, Sravani, for the wonderful message that you have given to the audience. Go beyond and look at the abilities and not the disability.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a wonderful message.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's an incredible thing what you're doing. So, good luck as well.